All right, y'all. We're back in a new year,
Happy New Year.
2021. What are you going to do with your life this year?
Same thing I did last week.
Facts. Yeah, it's just another week. Frequency Response Podcast. We're here almost every week. You know, we take some time off sometimes for a little self-care.
That's true. I mean, last week, Tuesday night, you actually had a session. Like
Tuesday night.
You slept like at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m.
Yeah.
I think that was last week. Oh, no, last week. Oh, no, it was Zoe.
Oh, yeah.
2 weeks ago, you had the
I think
4
I did have a late session, but then, yeah, my dog's just been sick, but she's chilling with us right now.
She's chilling.
But yeah, man, been working. We're just about to check in with y'all. I mean, what have you been up to? Because it's been 2 weeks, right?
It's been 2
What
weeks.
you been working on? What's new in the mix? New in the beat making?
I honestly haven't been working on music as much.
Hey, man, sometimes you gotta take a step back. For the holidays, I did the same thing. I just kind of like take a break.
Yeah.
It's also not as much business during the holidays because people are out of town, people are doing family shit, so you gotta prepare for that. Mm-hmm. So I mean, what'd you do outside of music that kind of prepares you for, to get you mentally right for this year to go, bam, for the next couple months, like head on.
I honestly haven't done much.
But I'm saying that you're doing some self-care stuff. Like, what's up?
I meditate.
Meditating.
There was a point I was meditating a lot.
Okay.
You know,
What's your do you do guided meditation? Do you self-meditate? What's your preference?
I do guided and self.
Okay. You use like an app or you use like a recording of some kind?
Yeah, I use a Headspace.
Headspace, that's a good one. Yep.
I use Headspace and it tracks your streaks. You know, like say you do it 8 days in a row. Like literally.
What's your longest streak?
It's when I used to work out and go to the gym. I used to do it in the sauna.
Oh, that's nice.
It was like man, I don't know. I want to say like more than 30 days, more than 60 days in a row.
Wow.
I swear. After working out, go to the sauna, just chill, relax, put the earbuds on.
That's gotta. I mean, you felt the difference. 60 days. Like your mind was probably very clear, huh?
I was in a different wavelength for sure.
Yeah.
I was in a different frequency. Like you could tell by the energy.
You were being mixed by the gods.
Yeah, I would say so.
That's tight, man.
Right, it almost feels like right now I'm distracted, to be honest, by
Everything.
So I literally made it a point last night to sleep good.
Yeah.
Which is why I drank chamomile tea.
Chamomile tea is the new wave before you go to bed, evidently.
So I slept good because I made it a point to do the most important things in the morning. So I made a beat this morning that I might release and try to sell on BeatStars. And I worked out. I did a jump rope.
All right, let's stop right there. I got a question for you real quick. How do you feel about like getting your work off like right in the morning when your mind is fresh? Like, does it feel better to you? Because for me, like mixing records first thing in the morning is like kind of has the best results because my ears are fresh, my mind is fresh, I feel rested. Mm-hmm. So as far as making beats early in the morning, like, do you feel that same way?
Yeah, I get in the zone faster. It seems smoother, easier. They say we have the most brain power in the morning.
Yeah.
And I watched a video last night, and this guy named Jim Quick, I want to say his name is.
Jimmy Quick. Okay.
And he recommended don't go on your phone for the first hour of the day, but try to just do what you need to do. The most important things right in the morning.
I think staring at screens like in the wrong way kind of just sucks your brain power out of you, like just mindlessly scrolling and stuff. So I definitely agree with that.
For sure. But like you said, like right in the morning, bros, like we're the most.
Your mind just works differently.
After sleeping, we are well rested already. We make better decisions.
Yeah. I mean, you can tell right now, like we're both pretty well rested right now. And we're speaking. We're clean shaven. The beard is gone. No.
The beard is gone.
But yeah, definitely like ear fatigue is a thing. Even if you're not listening to music all day, like just living in LA, like it's loud out here.
Mm-hmm.
Like just cars and roommates and just stuff, you know, it gets you throughout the day. So if by the time you sit down for mixing and like you're already kind of like not ready to go to bed, but you're tired like a little bit, like your mind is exhausted. Because I don't know if you felt those times where you're like, my body is not physically tired, but my mind is like exhausted, you know? And it's like I can't think. It's like if you think back to like when you went to school, like going to class, like just mentally exhausted, like you're not obtaining any of the information. You're just there. Like you're just physically there. So it's important to take in all those tidbits, you know, like while you're working on stuff, or like if you have a creative thought, you can actually like implement it into the computer rather than when you're tired. You might have that thought still, but you don't have the energy to translate it to your laptop, right?
Facts.
And that's pretty much all we do. We're just the connection between our brain to our laptop. So we have to be like the best connection possible, you know? So
I find my brain gets tired when I use social media a lot.
Yeah.
Like you earlier you said, like when you're mindlessly scrolling, like when
Yep.
we're like just being almost reactive to our scenarios and not being proactive.
yeah,
And you know, that's when I
kind of
find
the
myself
worst.
being mentally tired. Then I try to get creative and it feels forced, or it's like there's no motivation, there's no drive. Even with a good why, like I could have a why, like, oh man, I really had this good idea.
Yeah.
But then once I start playing it, it's like this is shit.
it's
This
just not working.
This is shit.
You're like, in my mind, it felt right, but for some reason, I can't get it.
That's facts.
Yeah.
So this morning, that's what I did. I just worked on music. Even after working out, I had some oatmeal, had a protein shake,
Ate good.
and I still worked on that beat before I came. Literally.
Hell yeah. That's another thing. When you're motivated to do something, like, it also does not matter what time it is. Sometimes it doesn't even matter how you feel. You could be tired of shit, but you're just like determined as fuck. And you're like, well, I'm just going to do this till it's done. Like, and that's a lot of times people work themselves to exhaustion like that too, you know? They're like so passionate about something. Cause I mean, to be in the music business, to be working on music, especially if you're not getting paid for it, if it's just like a creative personal project, to want to go hit that every day, you got to be passionate about it. So
I would say passion is a big force,
yeah.
but I feel like understanding your brain. Once you understand your brain, you could almost help yourself out,
Yeah.
run longer, and not feel as fatigued.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
And I'll tell you this, like, there'll be times where you're like, oh, I have my brain figured out, right? And then something happens and you're like, I don't want to do any of this. Like, everything flips just like that. Like, that's the part that sucks, is like, you can be on one wavelength or frequency, length, wavelength, whatever, you know? And something happens to alter it. And it's unexplainable, but you just get into a different mood, a different headspace, and you're starting over, trying to find that inner peace, that inner clarity, you know? So it's just difficult, man.
I think that goes with life, though. You know, there's
Exactly.
ups, downs.
Yeah.
You're gonna have your most productive good days, and you're gonna have your bad days when I personally feel like I'm being needy, or I'm being a little too much, or I'm just not as focused, distracted.
Yeah.
But then there's the good days where I'm like, almost nothing else matters. This moment matters. This music matters. My goal matters. So that, you know, like that's the ups and downs for my personal experience. Is like I'm good, I'm focused, I'm doing everything, I'm hitting up people. Feels like everything just kind of coming naturally to me. It was like effortlessly.
Yeah.
I can't even explain it. And then the downs is like I'm being reactive, my emotions, little comments, little attitudes from women, from this and that, just a little thing could like rub me off the wrong way when it really shouldn't. But those are my down, you know, those are the lows and shit.
That's the human response, you know? So
Right,
you have to remember that we're here with the frequency response, but we're also trying to balance it with the human response.
Facts.
We have to get those working together. And like, that is such a hard part of the music business. That a lot of people don't talk about, is like, it's the same thing with like chemistry with an artist. Like if you're in a bad mood and an artist comes in and they're in a great mood, you know, sometimes like their mood might rub off on you. It'll make you feel better, but sometimes your mood might rub off on them. You say something that they don't like or whatever, you know, and then it affects the entire session. So yeah, it's super important to like just stay positive. And then I don't know, you're allowed to have off days, you know? You don't have to like fight an off day. Like don't work through an off day, just don't work. Just take a day off. Sometimes you need a break. It's a job, you know? You don't go to work. I mean, some people go to work every fucking day. And I mean, it shows, you know? Like take an employee on like their 20th day in a row working, they're exhausted. They're probably going to make some mistakes at work, you know? So try to avoid that, because if you make a mistake mixing a record and put it out, I mean, it's out there forever.
That's true.
So you can't really bring that back. Yeah. But
What have you been up to?
Same thing, man. Just mixing, but definitely during the holidays, like between Thanksgiving, Christmas. I guess right before Christmas, it was really busy. But then once like the week of Christmas hit, week of New Year's Eve, kind of slowing down, you know. Not as many sessions, not as many recording sessions. Definitely been mixing, worked on a couple albums here and there. But yeah, same thing, just kind of getting my headspace right. Taking some me time, you know, sleeping a little bit more. Because I feel like I'm always playing catch up with sleep, you know. So there'll be times, there'll be like weeks where I'm sleeping just 5 hours, and it's kind of just by choice. Like I just wake up and I can't go to sleep at night. So on those days where I'm like, oh, I just slept like 9 hours and I feel great. Like last night, I feel great. So sometimes you got to do that. So yeah, I've been working on finishing up. So my artist, Shaw Infinite, he's been dropping some singles. We were just talking about, we did like a live thing here in the studio space for his new record, Urkel. It had the homie Alec Ferris on the keys and vocals, had Fuzzy Slippers on the guitar, sax, and a little vocals as well. Shaw was doing the leads. We recorded it all right here. Shot by AE, did the video. Yeah, just did like a live rendition of it. That was cool. Just like a different tempo of it, slowed it down a little bit. That was dope. Just find different ways to promo your stuff, you know? And especially if you can do live, if you have live musicians around you, you might as well utilize that, because I know we get caught up in our laptops, you know? The laptop can do anything. It can emulate a guitar, it can emulate a sax, it can emulate piano, you know? But at the end of the day, real live instrumentation, it's unmatched. You can feel it, you know? It's not quantized.
That's true.
It's got emotion, you know? It's got that human emotion to it, so.
I don't like quantizing, by the way, like my beats,
Yeah.
but like when people want me to quantize, you know what I'm saying? But in live performances, they're not gonna quantize, you know, like. But it's like, I get it, I understand. At
You
the
can
end
quantize stuff, but you have to keep like a slide to it of some kind, you know? It can't just be like perfectly on. But some things do need to be quantized, you know? So,
like what?
I mean,
Let's go.
I think the most important thing to be quantized is like the drums, you know?
The drums.
There can be a swing to them, but they need to be perfectly on. And then from there, you can kind of slide your other instruments in and out of time just a little bit, you know? And as long as the 1 is on, the 2 and the 3 can be slid a little more, you know?
Yeah.
So, because that's what clicks in someone's brain immediately, you know? So, and we're also in the age of everything's perfect, everything's quantized, everything's auto-tuned, everything's pitched perfectly. And so in our brains now, if anything is slightly off, next, we're going to the next song, because there's so much music out there. We don't give it a chance. I actually got into a little IG debate with just these random people about this record by this artist, Kid Lowry or whatever. I just commented some shit because I was just like, I'm sick of this shit. It's just some song that just sounds like every fucking song in the world, you know?
Okay.
And everyone's just like, oh, this is so amazing, this is so good. And I'm just like, haven't we heard this song like 50 times in the last year? Like, it sounds just like Roddy Ricch. It sounds just like every fucking artist, you know, just auto-tuned up trap beat. I mean, and people are just dick riding. And I'm just like, of course it's young kids, you know.
Right.
I get it. You know, you think this is new and innovative, but I'm like, this has been done. And I'm over it. I'm sick of it.
I'm sick of it.
And I'm not going to be a hater of like the new shit, but it's not new. It's old shit. It's stuff that's been being done for 2-3 years. It's just, they're just doing it again with a different voice and a different beat.
A different voice, different beat.
But the beat sounds the same.
And I haven't heard this song because I don't know who this person is.
Yeah,
but
you don't want to.
All right, that's cool. But I'm assuming they're melodic.
Yeah.
Melodic. I see you.
Yeah, like Roddy Ricch, you know.
I feel
He's
that.
not bad.
Right.
I didn't say he was bad.
Right.
I just said this is not anything new, you know.
Yeah.
So
I feel you. I know exactly what you're saying.
sometimes I like to talk shit online just for fun, because I feel like it's kind of our responsibility to talk shit, because some people need to talk shit. You can't just say everything's good. Like, that's another thing that bothers me is, like, you know, you might have, I mean, there might be some people here that, like, you're not bad, you know, at making music, but you're making music of the past. Like when Roddy Ricch drops a record. Mm-hmm. That record that came out, he probably recorded that record like a year ago at least. So that's an old thought to him. Mm-hmm. So like, not to say that Roddy Ricch is about to come out with something completely different, because he's going to stick to his sound and keep getting his money, and that's fine. But once he made that sound, that lane is captured already. Mm. It's like when T-Pain did his thing, you know? How many people followed after that trying to sound like T-Pain? But who's left? T-Pain is the only one left in that lane, right? So you got to remember to just find your own lane.
Find your own lane.
Like,
yes.
Don't be afraid to, like, some people might say, like, oh, I don't like this in the beginning.
Right.
But if it's legitimately good and you keep at it, I mean, it's either going to catch on or it's not, you know? But you kind of have to take that chance if you want to be different. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know.
I read or I listened to, like, the 80-20 principle, where, like, 80% of your income comes from, like, 20% of people. So, like, if you have your thing, even if it's not, like, the most mainstream thing, but it's you and it's your thing, but you have this...
They can't go anywhere else to get it.
Right. But then you have this loyal fan base. Like, this is yours. Like, this is your fan base who just looks out for your music.
Yeah.
Even if it's not, like, mainstream or whatnot.
You only need a small amount of people to religiously follow you.
Right. I mean, this has been shown by many underground artists.
Yep.
Where they just have, like, almost like a cult following. Like, I love Absol. Like, I just love his music. I'm going to say it, but, like, not everyone
Everyone
knows
out there, you probably don't even know who he is.
Unless you're into
possible.
it.
It's possible, you know? And for me, like, I know who he is. I've known who he is, but I couldn't tell you, like, a song. Yeah.
There it is.
But he's dope. But yeah,
I think so.
Again, there's just so much music out there that sometimes it's hard to keep track of everything. So... And it's not like a disrespectful thing. It's just like,
I know.
It's just the way we are now, you know? It's like when your friends post on Instagram,
right?
And you don't even see it because it's not in your algorithm or whatever, you know?
Right.
But it's like you talk to them every day, but you don't see their Instagram post. I mean, that's just how it is. Mm-hmm. So you got to really put your shit out there if you're really trying to get it heard.
For sure. I agree. Putting it out there by doing live performances is one example, like you said earlier.
Yep. The live shit, visuals are very important. Cause you know, I think there was a time where like maybe still, but the most popular thing on Instagram was just a photo, right? Now you scroll and 60-70% of it is video now, right? Reels, IGTV. People want something that's moving, you know?
That's true.
And a good picture is great every now and then, but
I agree.
To have some content to go along, a visual to accompany your music. That's why movies, like, you ever seen the movie business slow down? Like the music business? Not really. I mean, it's transitioned into Netflix and Hulu and stuff, but
facts.
I heard someone saying they're like, you know, they always talk about how people's attention spans are getting very short, but there's still people spending 8 hours a day on Netflix watching a whole season of shows. Why is that? It's because there's music in that show, but there's also visuals. There's a storyline. There's all this other stuff going on. So,
I think you've touched on many important things. One thing you said is storyline. I do feel like people are captivated by stories, good stories.
Yep.
Your journey, which makes you unique. So, like, no one else could tell your story except yourself. And as far as the attention span,
yeah,
I've heard somewhere where, like, Instagram, like, when people scroll, like, their maximum attention span is like 7 seconds.
Yeah.
So if you make a story, I personally would recommend not doing over 7 seconds.
Yeah.
Or try mixing it up too. You know what I'm saying? Because yesterday I just shared a bunch of people's projects. HA's, Shaw's, and other friends just shared.
Yeah.
But it's almost not as engaging for the consumer.
Because it's like the same post over and over.
Right. Like there's no different. And people... You know, I checked my insights. You know, people end up just going next story. They just slowly see it.
So you got to like have a variance in your post.
You have to. Something different. If it's always the same thing, as a consumer, people are just like, they feel like they've already seen it. Their attention span, they're like over it.
Yep.
So if you could somehow play with it, like give them a little image here, a little GIF, a little boomerang, a little post, just mix it up, almost like you're boxing, you know?
Yeah.
You hit them with the jab, and you kind of duck. And
I like that reference. Yeah, because you hit them with the same thing, they know what's coming, and people don't want to know what's coming. They want to be surprised.
Surprise also with music, element of surprises. when you do something cool with the mix?
Element of surprise. So I also see this happen a lot where, you know, you're about to release a song and you're promoting it for a week or two before it's out by just posting a photo of it, posting a clip of it, posting a whatever, all this little stuff.
Facts.
But it's not out. So by the time it actually comes out, people feel like they've already heard it because they already heard the 7 seconds of it, you know? So they're like, oh yeah, I heard it. Your track is dope. But they didn't actually listen to the whole thing. So it's like by the time it comes out, they forget to even listen to it. You know what I mean? It happens. I've seen it happen. It's like you put out a trailer for your music video, you put out a snippet, you put out the artwork, you put out the blah, blah, blah. And maybe every time that comes out, they're like, oh, it's out. And they try to go click and they're like, oh, no, it's not actually out. It's not actually out. So then when it's actually out, they're like, I'm not going to click it because it's probably not actually out, you know? People get fed up with that.
True. And then one thing I think that helps with that,
Yeah.
I personally feel like it helps, is engaging with people. Message them.
DMs.
Be like, hey, yo, like this is coming out. Like remind people too, because people forget. People are living their lives. You know, people have jobs. You know, they're not
revolving around social media.
Or even us as engineers, producers, musicians. Like, you
They
know,
don't care about us.
Well, they do. They do, but they don't. It's a paradox. It's like, but a lot of times it's just like reminders. Like, oh, hey, and they're like, oh yeah, I remember you're here.
Yeah.
I remember. Oh wait, yeah, that's right. You do this. Oh, that's right. You do this. And if you hit them in the DMs, be like, hey, yo, tomorrow. And then you should send another message the day of and be like, hey, what'd you think? Like anything you can
some engagement,
improve. You have to.
Yep.
Because people are human.
And be like, tell me, like, don't, like, because a lot of people would just be like, oh, it's dope. It was good. And I really appreciate when people, like, give me, like, real criticism on it, you know?
Right.
Like,
you appreciate it.
Yeah. So that's nice. And I think I touched on this, like, in a couple episodes back. I'm like, on my Instagram, I really try to implement, like, if I'm following somebody and I don't feel comfortable either reaching out to them in the DMs, commenting on, like commenting something real, not just like an emoji, like,
right,
giving my opinion on it, I'm not following you. Because there's no point. Like, it's a billboard. It's an advertisement that I'm following. Like, there's no point. You know? I get advertisements on my phone all the time, and I'm like, I don't want to see this shit. So it's essentially the same thing, right? You just follow them maybe because you met them once somewhere. And that's cool, but if you're not going to utilize that connection and that relationship, like, why keep it going?
That's an interesting point. You know, you just I feel like you just never know sometimes. You know, it's like you can,
but engage with them,
or maybe they don't up until they're like they see you do something. You know, they're like, oh wait.
I'm not saying them engaging with me. I'm saying me engaging with them. You can try. I try to engage with somebody too, even if I've met them a couple of times and I don't really know them, but they posted something that means something to them.
Facts.
I'm like, I'm gonna say something. I'm be like, oh, I didn't know you did this. This is tight. That's really cool what you did there at 27 seconds or whatever. You know, like, give like some real feedback instead of just like flame emoji, flame emoji,
flame emoji.
You know, like, I don't know, because I appreciate that. You know, I get a bunch of emojis, but then when someone's like says something real, I'm like, they actually listened to it. Like, they took the time to like think of this response. You know, like,
for sure,
it's a little thing, but it goes a long way.
I think so. I think just being genuine, being real with yourself, true to yourself, you know, and be like, one thing I like to ask myself is like, what do I like about it? You know, like a lot of times, like if I like something, I'm like, what do I like about this? Why do I like it? A lot of times, if you just explain to someone off the top why you like something, you already like stand out.
It's like it's like active listening. You know, it's like
we just had this real conversation with Clubhouse. I was in a Clubhouse with Shaw.
Okay,
it's my first time. I was stepping out of my comfort zone.
Talk about it. Clubhouse. We were on there last episode.
All right, if I had to be honest, Shaw is very hard to read. So I personally almost felt like I don't know if he likes me. I don't know where, you know, but he's super chill. He's super chill. I ain't gonna lie.
He's from DC. That's why.
I don't know. I don't know any DC. He's the first person I met from DC.
Okay. So what happened?
I'm like, I don't know. You know, off the top, because I'm like, I was debating clicking on this Clubhouse thing. I'm like, all right. Oh, man, I don't know, man. I don't know if I could add anything to this conversation.
Yeah.
And then off the top, I'm like, man, he's kind of hard to read. And I'm like, I don't even know if he likes me. Like, I've been in the studio, but, you know, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, I'm in my head.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? Screw it. Let me just go into it. And surely enough, he made me feel comfortable. Like, I see him like, he's a leader. Yeah. He's a leader in his way. Like, off the top, just being in that Clubhouse, he is a leader in his own way. I'm like, mad respect.
Okay.
And, you know, we're having a good conversation in Clubhouse, just talking about various topics. Just
Yeah.
boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And then there came a point where I had to speak.
Okay.
But right when I spoke, before I said anything, any points I tried to make, is I recited something everyone said. And that was
listening,
like
yeah.
that was like 6 to 7 people.
Okay.
6 to 7 people. I'm like, oh, good.
Because that doesn't happen a lot. People just get the stage and they're like, oh, it's my turn. I get to just talk about me.
Right.
So that's rare.
It's very rare. That's what I realized. That's when I realized it was very rare, because Shaw was like, man, I appreciate you for doing that. Like, not everyone, like, he was honest. He was being honest at that moment. He was like, he was in his head, and, you know, he's like, oh, when did they say that? But I was like, oh, okay, this is of value, being heard.
Yeah.
Like,
That's all
wanting
people
to
want.
listen. Right?
They just want to be heard.
It's effortless to me.
Yeah.
These past episodes.
Because you're a genuine person. Like you are actually, because some people aren't actually listening. They're just waiting for their moment to speak. Mm-hmm. So it's like, if you're actually absorbing and listening to people, I mean, that's a talent right there.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
But I also assume that you could learn something new from someone else.
I mean, I think that's what Clubhouse should be about. I don't think a lot of people are on there for the right reasons. And that's why I have trouble, like, spending time in there. Like, for example, I finally found one that was like the art of mixing and mastering. And I was like, yes.
That's right.
I went in that bitch. They ain't talking about shit.
Really?
Talking about like ratchet ass shit about girls. Like, I'm like, where's the mixing stuff? Like, I was excited, you know? And I was just like, I stayed in there for like 10 minutes just to see if they would talk about anything mixing. Nothing.
Lame.
And I left. So, I don't know. Yeah, it's just people get on there to talk shit. And like, there's rooms where like, you know, people just roast people, or like, it's like, I don't know. It's not conducive at all. So
I see that. I could see that. And the Clubhouse chat that I was in, you know, it almost feels like, for personally, I felt like I didn't have anything. I have nothing to contribute. But when it was like my time to speak, I had been like, well, what can I contribute? What can I give these people that maybe or maybe not they haven't heard?
yeah.
And you won't know until you start being like, doom, 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 doom.
Yeah.
So I've read a lot of books. So I just kind of just started summing up books and things I've learned. And people was vibing with it. You know, people were getting, you know, it seemed like people was vibing with it. I'm like, cool. Y'all take the information, do whatever, you know.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to help people too. In my own way. I'm not the best, but, you know, I'm trying to help people.
You're intelligent, and there's not a lot of intelligent people out there.
I don't consider
Not a
myself
lot of people that
intelligent.
read books. I mean, I'm just saying, like, there's not a lot of people that read books now. People are just watch TV all day or read on the internet, you know? But there's something about picking up, like, a piece of paper and reading something that someone typed out and published in a book. Thousands of copies. Like, there's a reason they put that in a book, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, there's an article online. It's just online in one spot. But they made a book, and they printed it on thousands of copies and put it in bookstores. There's a little bit more, like, you know, validity there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wouldn't you agree?
I would say so.
I'm not saying everything in a book is, like, hard facts, but
I agree with that too.
it was thought of for a while before it hit those shelves. It's like how we were talking about when music is worked on for years before it comes out. Mm-hmm. It's like when albums were a thing and your album was physically on the shelf. That took years of planning and companies putting money into it to get that on the shelf. Nowadays, you can upload a song on Spotify and it's out the next day. Mm-hmm. There's no thought put behind it. So I applaud you for reading books, because I try to read, you know. I've been reading the same book for like a year, but I do read every now and then. But I feel good when I read, you know. I feel like I actually got something out of it. I'm like, yeah, I got lost in that, you know. And it's hard to get lost in anything these days, like if it's not like Netflix or, you know. Mm-hmm. But it's like, are you lost in it, or are you just being mindlessly controlled?
That's true. I mean, I don't even know where to go with that. You can talk about Netflix. All right, yeah, because one of the first books that I read was The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey.
Ooh.
And like the
Nice.
first rule is like, first seek to understand.
Yeah.
I understand you.
Yep.
Let me recite what you said.
Yep.
You know, like this is, and then the next point is like, all right, now I understand you. You know, somebody feels open or more open once they feel like they're understood.
They're heard.
And now they're open to listening.
Yep.
You know? So it's like, first first give. Give them. Just give. As there's another book, jab, 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 right hook. The whole premise is like give, give, give.
Yeah.
Give value. Mixing tips, video, entertainment, images, boom, give, give, give. And then when it's your time to come, you ask them for something. Just be like, if you guys want to help me continue supporting me, check it out.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, shit, dude.
We're going to have to do some book swap.
Book swap. I honestly do audiobooks because I like when someone talks to me. Like podcast, you talk to me.
Okay.
I soak up information.
Yeah.
It's like having a mentor in your phone.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, yeah. Like, you're listening to it. You're like, damn, man.
And like, okay, so like we were talking about like visuals accompanied with audio, and like that's great sometimes, but sometimes if you're really trying to get a point across and the purpose of it is just for you to hear what I'm saying, sometimes the visuals are a distraction. So if you're really like an audiobook, if you're just sitting there, like you could close your eyes, you could be driving, you could be doing something that's almost mindless, but then you have like a soundtrack being played telling you what's going on or what they're doing, so it kind of like you accompany it with your real life visuals, and then that makes it more relatable to you. You could remember, you'd be like, oh yeah, every time I pass this sign in this neighborhood, I was listening to this audiobook, and it reminds me of the jab jab punch, like I should hit somebody up and listen to them, or give them some advice, or so that's valuable.
That's the word, valuable.
Bring value to people's lives instead of just fucking being there, right?
For sure. The questions I ask myself for that, if you want to provide value, is like, what can I do to help? What can I give to help? What do you need? Can I give you this? Can I have you reach someone who can do this?
Yeah.
Like if someone wants, I would say affordable, like high level mixing. I'll be like, go to my boy.
Yeah.
I'm not afraid to pass them to you. Like, you'd be like,
sure.
That's what you want? I'm going to be honest with you. I know what I know. I'm limited. Go to him.
Yeah.
I've already sent someone to you. I don't know if they hit you up,
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't think so, but maybe.
Yeah, so.
Maybe they hit me up, but nothing yet.
Right.
But that's dope. I appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, we get value from each other. That's why we enjoy talking to each other. Like, I get value from you. Like,
you think so?
Absolutely.
I try. Honestly, I feel like I don't. Like, it goes back to, I don't
but
feel like
after our conversation, I feel different. I feel like I've learned something. I feel like I've expressed myself. I feel like I've taken the facts and opinions from somebody else and maybe made them a little bit my own, so it's valuable. So, I mean, I think that's any relationship that you have, any friendship that you have, like someone's getting some kind of value from being your friend, or it's not like we're using each other. It's just like there's substance there. There's value to your life. You're bringing it to me, so it's like, and that's a precious thing.
I agree.
So,
and to add to your point, it's like you could look at life whatever lens you want to look at it through.
Yep.
You have the power to look at it in any way you want. You could take things personally. You can.
Yep.
I mean, that's really up to you. Like,
yep.
It's like I like to see life is good. I like to see life is good.
Could be way worse.
Right. But I'm not saying it's perfect. Like, I understand. Like, I'm not like toxic positive, where I'm like, yeah, there's no negative. Nah, man, I'm just got to keep it real. But it's like, I think life is good, and it goes back to like things could be worse.
Yep.
Things could be worse.
We're in a pandemic and we're still alive, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, and I'm sorry for those who have lost people.
For sure. I mean, there's a lot of bad stuff happening.
For sure. But at the end of the day, you almost got to like control the internal first. I think it was like the movie Notorious, where Diddy tells Big, "You can't change the world until you change yourself."
Yep.
That's gems right there. You can't change the world until you change yourself.
Yep.
So once you dive into yourself, change yourself, now you have the I would say power, but like ability to like influence people and touch people in a positive way.
Yeah.
Because I mean, life's short.
Facts. Shaw said something to me the other day on the phone. He's like, for the past, he's like, I've always been like, I want to be in the music business. I want to be in the music business. Like, that's my goal. I want to be in the music business.
Right.
And then he's like, I am in the music business.
Facts.
It's like, I just watched the movie Soul on Disney Plus, and at the end there's like this fish, and he's like, I'm looking for the ocean. Like, where can I find the ocean? And he's like, you're in the ocean. He's like, this is just water. You're here. Like, people who are constantly just like, oh, I'm gonna get there. You're already here. You're just on the way to being there.
That's true. And I feel like people also get in their own ways.
Yeah.
Like, I need something to be this or do this. Like, they're almost looking for something external.
Yeah. The mind is powerful.
But that thing about you're already in the ocean, that's just you realizing and be like, you have what it takes to be whatever you want to be. Like, you have, it's already in you. You just got to unlock it. You just got to let go of all the stuff that's blocking you, the friends, whatever, relationships, whatever it is, just let go of it. Because honestly, you just got to unlock it. It's already in you.
Yep. Potential is there.
When I started making beats, like, trust me, I try to make the boom bap, the sample bass that I try making right now, trash, bro. I mean trash.
Yeah.
I could go back and be like,
yeah.
Just like, but that just proves if you just put your time and energy into it.
Because at the time, there was this clasp, this lock on your brain right here.
Yeah.
And you were just loosening it,
right.
loosening it. And then one day it just went, boop. And the gates were fucking open.
The gates were just open. I like that.
And that's, that's all you're trying to do. And then what you're doing now is that gate's open. Now you're paving the road, putting some landscaping on the side. You're building your home, Mm-hmm. So it's like your mind is your home. Build it up nicely, Take care of it. Water the lawn. Turn the lights out at night. Save your electric bill.
These are good metaphors. If they're going over your head, I'm sorry. These are good metaphors.
Yeah, I get lost in my metaphors. But yeah, man. I don't know why I'm thinking of this, but I've been thinking about Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre had an aneurysm yesterday. That made me very sad. He's doing okay now, what I've read. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it just goes to show, like, he's young and he's a billionaire, and you just never know. Your time could be up. So just cherish every moment. Every moment's precious. Every relationship is important. Treat everyone with respect. You never know what people are going through.
Facts.
They could be rich and famous and miserable. So
that's true.
Think about how happy we are with how little we have right now. So if we were rich, hopefully we'd be exponentially happy.
That's what they say is, like, whatever you are already right now, the money just magnifies what you already are.
Yeah.
So if you're selfish or greedy and this or that, or you're giving or what, honestly, money's just going to magnify that and be like, you're going to be more of that.
Yeah. That's facts. I want to talk about one, like, mixing thing.
All right, yeah, we got into, like, this is like a whole mindset thing, like public speaking stuff. Yeah. But yeah, all right, let's go.
There's this plugin that I've been debating buying.
Okay.
It's called Vocal Align. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it basically takes... Have you heard of it? Okay, it basically takes, like, when you're recording, I don't know if everybody knows this or if we talked about this yet, but stacks, dubs, you want to do layers of things, So it's not... Most of the time when you hear a record and you think you only hear one voice, there's really multiple voices, like mixed left, right, at certain ranges, a little bit more reverb on certain things. Like, it gives it depth, okay? So I'm stacking vocals. I have some artists that do, on a chorus, anywhere from 3 stacks to 20 stacks, with harmonies and all that shit. Mm-hmm. So this plugin basically... I do this manually already. I line up, like, obviously the artist is kind of on time, but it's kind of hard to be perfectly on time with your other stacks. So I'll go in there and manually line up everything, and that's how in your mind you only hear one voice. Because if, like, the sibilance of your voice is hitting like a millisecond earlier than the other one, it's gonna sound a little messy, So basically, this plugin takes all those and aligns them for you perfectly.
Vocal line, I see.
Vocal line, yeah. So I haven't tried it yet, but I've been just doing a lot of research before I buy it. Just because I've heard good things about it, I've heard bad things about it. And basically what I've gathered is if your artist is good at stacks and their stacks are fairly close to each other, it can do the job. But if they're not, if it's like all over the place, it's not going to do it for you, you know? So you can do it manually for that case, but if I can find something to do that for me with just one click of a plugin, I mean, that's going to save me hours in my life. So
Really? All right.
that's one thing. Like, if you're going to buy a plugin, make sure it's going to like bring time back to you, because that's like the most important thing is time. So I don't know if there's any plugins that you have where it's like you could accomplish that without the plugin, but just being able to just drop a plugin on there, it just saves you, 10 minutes on every mix that you do. That shit's going to build up.
Sonic's inflator.
Sonic Inflator, what does that do?
It's part, I'm sure you have.
I don't have that one.
No, you probably have the limiter, the Oxford limiter.
Oh, okay, yep.
There's a little section to the right, and there's just that little section. It could be its own plugin called a inflator, where it just makes things fat like drums.
Yeah,
That's my
yeah. It's probably like some parallel compression or parallel limiting happening.
Yeah,
Maybe.
probably, man. I honestly can't tell you what it is. I just hear it and it sounds good.
It's the best.
It
Yeah,
sounds good. I'm like, that's it. Instead of having to parallel compress, and I'm sure I could still parallel and compress and like do the extra stuff, but I'm like, this is just put it on 1, 2,
yeah,
and then adjust the output. That's it.
yeah.
That's like 4 clicks.
For me, it's like Filter Freak is a big one because you can do all that. It's sweeping the frequency, like at an attack time, and like you can do that with automation. A lot of these plugins you can do with automation.
Facts.
But it's being triggered by a sound, and you can adjust the attack and the delay and the release of it. So just do stuff that makes your time more efficient. And then you'll be able to do more mixes, and you'll get better and better because you won't be putting all that time and energy into like something that's a plugin could do. So it gives you more time to think about how does this mix actually sound, and what's the amount of time that I can get this mix out to get mastered and be perfect.
How fast can we get it done?
Yeah.
One plugin also that I've been using lately is the Abbey Road vinyl.
Yep.
By Waves.
Yep.
Now there's this stop button where it does a tape stop where it goes boom, boom, boom,
Yep.
boom. And I've been using it lately on a lot of mixes because it's
good.
one of my favorite things to do now.
Yeah.
And
Because you're in what's your DAW again?
Studio One.
So is there no other way to do that in Studio One?
I researched it too much time. I ain't trying to do all
Yeah.
that. I was just like, just like how I learned automation from you.
Yep.
Like where you can literally just move the knob and it records the automation.
Yep.
I didn't know how to do that until I saw you do it.
Yep.
I went on YouTube to see how I can do it.
Yeah.
And it's just one click. And
Yep.
then you could like press a button and it records the automation.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah. If you like the tape vinyls, what's it called? What's the plugin called?
it's vinyl. So you could have had like
It's Waves, right?
Waves Abbey Road vinyl.
Abbey Road vinyl. I assume that costs money.
$30.
$30. Ozone Isotope. They have a free vinyl plugin that does the same thing. I just downloaded it the other day.
I have it.
Yeah. Did you get it for free?
Yeah, it's free.
So that's cool. What do you compare? Do you like the other one better?
Yeah, I like the other one
Just
better.
the sound of it?
Yeah.
Because the Ozone one, the Isotope one, has like a old sound to it, right? Like it puts like crackles and like static on it, right?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So this one probably doesn't. This one's just clean.
No, it does the same thing.
Oh, it does the same thing. Okay.
Literally, you have a crackle knob, a noise knob, and then you have click knobs, and then you could do like saturation.
Oh.
You could even it's even like a lo-fi plugin where you could add wobble or wah, delay.
Like if your record is a little warped.
Yeah.
In the needle, it's going like this on the table.
Exactly. That's
tight.
And it also does what else does it do? Phase distortion, I want to say. I didn't really touch that, but then the tone arm.
Okay.
Depending on where the needle is in the record,
Yeah.
it changes the frequencies
Based on the position of it. That's tight. Okay.
Yeah. So
So like what he's doing is something similar you can do in Pro Tools with the Audio Suite plugin Verify.
that's what it's called?
That's how I do it on mine. Yeah. So
Alright.
that's like a lot of people use that. In Logic, you can also do it with just the like. There's like a fade tool that you can just kind of like fade out, but you can also put it to record stop. I don't know about Ableton. I'm sure you can do it. You can do it in every plugin.
It's true, but Ableton does everything.
Yeah. But that's the beauty of it. All the stuff that we do, you can do it on like any DAW pretty much, you know? So that's nice. You just got to figure out how to do it, you know?
That goes back to getting familiar with your DAW.
Yeah.
Know your DAW.
YouTube.
YouTube University.
YouTube University.
Go to YouTube U.
Best investment.
Yeah, it's free.
Invest some time. It's free. You can learn some.
Hell yeah. Mm-hmm. That's all the tea. I'm drinking it all.
That's all the tea.
Hell yeah. Let's see where we're sitting right now. I feel like we're sitting pretty. Hell yeah. And we appreciate y'all for tuning in, you know? Had some tea with us.
Had some lovely tea. Hit y'all with the pinky real quick.
Some tea with Gates and V Rob, you know what I'm saying? Frequency response. We're going to be back next week. We appreciate you guys. If you guys got any questions, I know we didn't talk about that much mixing, but life isn't all about mixing, you know? Sometimes you got to take some time to yourself, get yourself right, and that's the resolution, you know? Take care of yourself. 2021. Love y'all.
Love
Peace
y'all.
out.